Lesson 1: The Cleaning Conspiracy.
Right after you clean it, she gets my father, my brother's sister, and me to help her with the cleaning.
That sequence sounds familiar in many households.
Does she plan work to involve the whole family deliberately?
Sometimes coordination aims to finish tasks faster and build teamwork.
Will everyone feel useful when given clear roles?
Clear roles reduce confusion and increase efficiency.
Do you think some family members may feel taken advantage of?
Perceived exploitation can cause resentment and tense interactions.
Should chores be assigned with consent and explanation?
Voluntary agreement fosters cooperation and preserves dignity.
Will a short plan and schedule prevent last-minute requests?
A simple plan clarifies expectations and respects personal time.
Could family history influence how tasks are divided?
Past patterns shape roles and expectations within family dynamics.
Is it controversial to insist on traditional gendered chore divisions?
Gendered divisions spark debate about fairness and evolving norms.
Should negotiation replace assumption when assigning tasks?
Negotiation promotes equity and models respectful communication.
Will incentives or shared rewards motivate participation?
Shared rewards, such as a communal meal, encourage collaboration.
Do you think public praise increases willingness to help?
Sincere recognition reinforces positive behavior and morale.
Could politicized debates about unpaid domestic labor appear?
Discussions about invisible labor often become heated and necessary.
Should media and creators highlight the value of domestic work?
Visibility validates contributions and supports calls for fair treatment.
Will teaching children chore skills benefit their future independence?
Early involvement builds competence and lifelong responsibility.
Should tasks match age and physical capability when possible?
Age-appropriate tasks ensure safety and success for young helpers.
Will rotating duties prevent burnout and boredom?
Rotation distributes responsibility and fosters broad skill development.
Do you believe written chore charts reduce conflict?
Charts create transparency and reduce ambiguity about expectations.
Should consequences and rewards be clearly stated and fair?
Fair systems maintain trust and accountability among participants.
Could cultural norms complicate the adoption of new chore practices?
Cultural expectations influence acceptance and require sensitive change management.
Will open family meetings help renegotiate household roles?
Family meetings provide a structured forum for airing concerns and solutions.
Should emotional labor also be acknowledged and distributed?
Emotional labor must be recognized alongside physical chores for genuine equity.
Will outsourcing some tasks be a reasonable solution for busy families?
Paid help can relieve pressure but must fit the household budget and values.
Could debate arise over privilege and access to hired help?
Discussions of privilege are essential to understand choices and systemic constraints.
Should creators present chore strategies with cultural nuance?
Nuanced presentation avoids stereotyping and respects diverse family models.
Will modeling polite language for requests and refusals aid learners?
Polite scripts teach practical vocabulary and preserve relationships.
Do you plan to role-play chore negotiations for educational videos?
Role-playing demonstrates language use and conflict resolution in context.
Should content include short phrases for delegating tasks clearly?
Concise phrases support comprehension and encourage practical application.
Will you address safety when asking children to help with cleaning?
Safety guidance prevents accidents and sets responsible boundaries.
Should gratitude be modeled explicitly after tasks are completed?
Expressing thanks reinforces cooperation and emotional reward.
Will you show examples of equitable chore schedules for different households?
Diverse examples help viewers adapt ideas to their own family situations.
Could controversial opinions about compulsory chores for teenagers appear?
Opinions vary, and reasoned discussion helps families choose appropriate approaches.
Should the content encourage negotiation rather than unilateral orders?
Negotiation respects autonomy and builds mutual respect over time.
Will you include tips for balancing chores with work and study demands?
Time management strategies ease pressure and prevent overload.
Should family agreements be revisited periodically as circumstances change?
Regular review keeps arrangements fair and responsive to new needs.
Will you provide downloadable templates for chore charts and meeting agendas?
Templates offer practical starting points and reduce implementation friction.
Could social media trends misrepresent family labor as glamorous?
Trendy portrayals can minimize real effort and obscure systemic issues.
Should creators be transparent about staged scenes and lifestyle content?
Transparency maintains trust and models ethical content creation.
Will you invite viewers to share their own chore solutions respectfully?
Shared experiences enrich the community and provide varied perspectives.
Should moderators enforce respectful discussion in the comments?
Respectful moderation protects participants and encourages constructive exchange.
Will you model concise, formal English for teaching polite requests?
Formal, short sentences support clarity and ease of learning for viewers.
Do you plan to address conflict resolution techniques for households?
Conflict techniques such as active listening and compromise improve outcomes.
Should families celebrate completion of chores with meaningful rituals?
Rituals create positive associations and reinforce cooperative habits.
Will you emphasize that chores teach responsibility rather than punishment?
Framing chores as skill building motivates participation and reduces resentment.
Should financial literacy be tied to chore expectations for older children?
Linking chores to learning about money can teach accountability and goal setting.
Will you caution against using chores as emotional leverage?
Using chores manipulatively harms trust and psychological well-being.
Do you think public debate about domestic labor will continue to intensify?
Debates will evolve as social norms and economic realities shift globally.
Should policymakers consider domestic labor in economic measures?
Recognizing domestic work in policy reflects its true social and economic value.
Will your lesson encourage families to design fair, practical systems together?
The goal is to inspire respectful collaboration and sustainable household practices.
I will present balanced, practical strategies, model polite language for learners, and advocate for dignity and fairness in sharing domestic work.
Lesson 2: Marriage Laws and Migration Trends.
Was it also easier to get married in Nevada than in some other states over time?
Nevada developed a reputation for quick and accessible marriage procedures.
What historical factors made Nevada attractive for couples?
Lenient residency rules and minimal waiting periods drew many partners.
Did the simplicity influence elopement and destination wedding culture?
Yes, it created a thriving industry around spontaneous and planned unions.
Were there practical reasons beyond legal ease?
The presence of clerks, chapels, and tourism infrastructure supported ceremonies.
Did neighboring states respond to Nevada's popularity?
Some states revised laws, but many retained longer procedures for policy reasons.
Could social norms have driven people to seek Nevada ceremonies?
Social flexibility and privacy often motivated couples to travel for marriage.
Did economic incentives play a role for local businesses?
Hotels, photographers, and vendors profited from increased wedding tourism.
Were there controversies about marrying without local oversight?
Critics argued that rapid marriages risked insufficient counseling and impulsive decisions.
Did legal safeguards evolve to address those concerns?
States implemented measures such as waiting periods and counseling options over time.
How did changes in interstate recognition affect couples?
Most states recognized out-of-state marriages, but legal questions occasionally arose.
Were there disputes about age, consent, or documentation?
Yes, inconsistent documentation and age laws sometimes led to complex legal reviews.
Did high-profile cases drive legislative reform?
Publicized incidents often prompted lawmakers to tighten or clarify regulations.
How did mobility and transportation improvements affect marriage tourism?
Easier travel expanded the catchment of couples willing to relocate briefly to wed.
Did the cultural appeal of quick ceremonies persist despite reforms?
The appeal shifted toward themed or destination weddings rather than purely speed.
Were marriage rates influenced by economic cycles in such jurisdictions?
Economic booms and busts correlated with fluctuations in wedding demand and spending.
Did Nevada's laws affect same-sex couples prior to nationwide recognition?
For many, Nevada provided pragmatic access when other states restricted marriage.
Did legal battles about marriage equality interact with these jurisdictional choices?
Litigation and shifting federal rulings changed where and how couples chose to marry.
Are there ethical debates about promoting short-notice wedding tourism?
Ethical concerns include exploitation, local impact, and the seriousness of commitment.
Could promoting quick marriages be seen as trivializing marriage?
Some view it as trivializing, while others see it as increasing personal freedom.
Did religious institutions respond to the trend differently?
Responses varied, some embraced outreach, others emphasized traditional preparation.
How did consumer culture shape expectations about wedding production?
The market created diverse options, from minimal legal ceremonies to full-scale events.
Did regulatory responses balance freedom of choice and protection of vulnerable parties?
Lawmakers sought balance through age verification, consent checks, and waiting rules.
Will digital records and online verification alter future marriage logistics?
Technology streamlines documentation but raises privacy and fraud concerns.
Could online licensing create new controversies about jurisdiction?
Virtual processes may prompt debates over residency requirements and legal validity.
Are there international parallels to the Nevada model?
Other jurisdictions with relaxed rules also became hubs for destination marriages.
Did those places face similar social and legal challenges?
They encountered comparable issues of oversight, tourism impact, and reform pressure.
How should content creators handle controversial aspects of marriage tourism?
Present balanced context, include expert perspectives, and avoid glamorizing risky practices.
Will audience interest likely increase with stories of real couples and legal nuance?
Personal narratives paired with legal clarity engage viewers and educate learners.
Should lessons include key vocabulary about marriage law and procedures?
Legal terms, procedural phrases, and conditional language enrich learner comprehension.
Could discussing historical shifts in law offer language and critical thinking practice?
Historical comparisons develop vocabulary and analytical skills for advanced learners.
Is it important to discuss consent, age, and equality explicitly?
Explicit discussion protects vulnerable audiences and fosters responsible understanding.
Will presenting multiple viewpoints on the issue encourage debate and engagement?
Balanced debate stimulates critical engagement while modeling respectful discourse.
Should creators provide resources for viewers to learn local legal requirements?
Directing viewers to official sources prevents misinformation and supports lawful action.
Will trending controversies about jurisdictional marriages draw higher viewership?
Controversial topics often increase interest but require careful, ethical treatment.
Could dramatization of extreme cases mislead learners about typical experiences?
Sensationalism risks misinforming, factual framing preserves educational value.
Should the lesson include practice dialogues for applying legal vocabulary?
Dialogues help learners use terms in context, improving retention and fluency.
Will including timelines of legal change clarify complex developments?
Timelines simplify chronology and show cause and effect in policy shifts.
Should the lesson advise consulting legal counsel for complicated cases?
Encouraging professional advice respects complexity and legal risk.
Will sensitive treatment of personal stories maintain viewer trust?
Sensitivity preserves dignity and invites constructive viewer response.
Could migration and mobility patterns continue to shape marriage practices?
Mobility will remain a central factor in how and where people choose to marry.
Do you think a balanced video can both trend and educate on this topic?
With thoughtful framing, it can spark conversation while teaching language and law.
I will prepare a nuanced, well-researched lesson that explains legal differences, models respectful dialogue, and equips learners with precise vocabulary and critical questions.
Lesson 3: Picnic Decisions and Practicalities.
Should we bring our own lunch or eat there?
We can bring our own sandwiches and have a pleasant picnic.
Will homemade food be fresher and more economical?
Homemade sandwiches often save money and suit dietary needs.
Should we consider food safety for perishable items?
Perishable items require cooling and careful handling.
Will a small cooler and ice pack suffice for the afternoon?
Coolers and ice packs maintain safe temperatures for several hours.
Should we select sturdy breads to prevent sogginess?
Sturdy breads such as ciabatta and whole grain hold fillings well.
Will condiments in separate containers keep sandwiches crisp?
Separating wet ingredients until serving preserves texture and taste.
Should we include protein and vegetable options for balance?
Balanced fillings provide energy and nutritional variety for a long day.
Will packing utensils and napkins make eating easier outdoors?
Utensils, napkins, and wet wipes enhance cleanliness and comfort.
Should we bring reusable plates and cups to reduce waste?
Reusable items reflect sustainability and look tidy at a picnic.
Will trash bags and recycling bags keep the area clean?
Carrying trash and recycling bags protects the environment and local rules.
Should we prepare allergy-safe alternatives for guests?
Providing clear labels and allergy-free options ensures safety and inclusion.
Will a simple menu sign help guests choose safely?
A small sign with ingredients reduces confusion and supports dietary needs.
Should we plan for weather by bringing lightweight shelter?
A compact pop-up shelter and picnic blanket guard against sun and light rain.
Will sunscreen and hats be necessary on sunny days?
Sunscreen and hats protect skin and support comfort during midday outings.
Should we consider public facilities for hand washing and toilets?
Checking nearby amenities supports hygiene and planning for groups.
Will portable hand sanitizer act as a useful backup?
Hand sanitizer is convenient when running water is unavailable.
Should we time the picnic to avoid peak heat and crowding?
Early afternoon or late morning often provides cooler temperatures and quieter spots.
Will transportation of food require stable containers?
Airtight, leak-proof containers prevent spills and preserve freshness.
Should we include simple desserts that travel well?
Baked goods like muffins and sturdy cookies survive transit and please guests.
Will beverages need insulation to stay cool or warm?
Insulated bottles maintain beverage temperatures for extended periods.
Should we collect local rules about picnicking in public spaces?
Knowing park regulations prevents fines and respects local management.
Will permits be required for larger gatherings or grills?
Large groups and open flames often require permits or reservation of space.
Should we plan seating arrangements for comfort and accessibility?
Accessible seating and clear pathways accommodate diverse guest needs.
Will entertainment such as cards or portable speakers improve the mood?
Quiet games and soft music can enhance social bonding without disturbing others.
Should we manage volume and consider neighbors and wildlife?
Low volume shows respect for surroundings and reduces wildlife disturbance.
Will bringing a small first aid kit be prudent?
Basic medical supplies handle minor cuts, insect bites, and other common issues.
Should we prepare for insects with repellents and food covers?
Insect repellent and mesh covers keep pests away from people and food.
Will packing a folding knife and cutting board aid food prep on site?
A small cutting board and safe knife allow final assembly and neat serving.
Should we stagger food items to keep the main courses fresher?
Holding some items until just before eating preserves quality and presentation.
Will labeling containers with names prevent mix-ups?
Clear labels help guests identify their choices and reduce waste.
Should we provide options for vegetarian and vegan guests?
Inclusive menus respect preferences and expand enjoyment for all.
Will portion control help limit leftovers and reduce waste?
Reasonable portions avoid excess and simplify cleanup at the end.
Should we encourage guests to bring refillable water bottles?
Refillable bottles reduce plastic waste and ensure hydration throughout the day.
Will providing simple utensils for serving support hygiene?
Serving utensils prevent cross-contamination and maintain cleanliness.
Should we schedule a brief cleanup period at the end of the picnic?
A collective cleanup leaves the site pristine and models good stewardship.
Will sharing cooking responsibilities reduce preparation stress?
Dividing tasks spreads effort and brings varied contributions to the menu.
Should we photograph the setup for future planning and promotion?
Photographs can help organize future events and provide content for channels.
Will pumpable dispensers for sauces reduce mess?
Pump dispensers create tidy service and minimize spills and waste.
Should we provide trays or boards for shared platters?
Shared platters on boards encourage communal serving and reduce disposable ware.
Will keeping a spare blanket and extra cushions increase comfort?
Extra comfort items accommodate unexpected guests and varied seating preferences.
Should we avoid strong-smelling foods in shared public areas?
Strong odors can disturb others and attract insects unnecessarily.
Will rotating seating spots give everyone a view and fresh breeze?
Rotating allows equitable enjoyment of shade, view, and air.
Should we confirm dietary restrictions when inviting people?
Confirming restrictions prevents awkward situations and protects health.
Will including conversation prompts aid English language practice?
Prompts help learners engage, practice new words, and maintain friendly discourse.
Should we prepare a short list of polite phrases for passing dishes?
Polite phrases create smooth interaction and model courteous language use.
Will keeping sentences short and formal in demonstrations help learners?
Short, formal sentences are easier for learners to follow and repeat.
Should we record brief instruction clips for packing and setup?
Instructional clips can attract views and provide useful checklists for audiences.
Will controversy arise if public areas are left untidy by visitors?
Untidiness provokes community concern and damages reputations, so care is essential.
Should creators model best practices to avoid controversy and encourage followers?
Modeling responsibility strengthens credibility and encourages positive behavior.
Will bringing our own sandwiches and planning carefully create a memorable outing?
Thoughtful preparation ensures comfort, safety, and enjoyment for all participants.
I will prepare the cooler, assemble balanced sandwiches, and organize supplies for a considerate and enjoyable picnic.
Lesson 4: Mutual respect and collaborative process.
Sure, first let us agree to treat each other with respect throughout the process.
Respect will create a productive and trusting environment.
How will we define respectful behavior in our collaboration?
We will listen actively and avoid interrupting each other.
Should we adopt clear rules for turn-taking and feedback?
Clear rules will prevent confusion and ensure fairness.
Will we use formal language to maintain clarity and professionalism?
Formal language will model correct usage for learners and reduce ambiguity.
Should we establish boundaries for criticism and praise?
Boundaries will keep critique constructive and praise sincere.
Will we commit to timely responses and reliable participation?
Reliability fosters momentum and demonstrates mutual consideration.
Should we document decisions to avoid misunderstandings later?
Documentation creates a shared record and aids accountability.
Will we acknowledge mistakes openly and learn from them?
Acknowledging errors promotes growth and models humility.
Should we schedule regular check-ins to assess progress?
Regular check-ins will keep the process on track and address issues early.
Will we agree to use inclusive language to welcome diverse voices?
Inclusive language makes the space safer and more accessible.
Should we invite differing viewpoints and debate them respectfully?
Respectful debate refines ideas and strengthens outcomes.
Will confidentiality be necessary for sensitive matters?
Confidentiality protects trust and encourages candor when required.
Should we set expectations for meeting preparation and punctuality?
Preparedness and punctuality respect everyone's time and effort.
Will we define decision-making procedures in advance?
Predefined procedures reduce power struggles and speed resolution.
Should we rotate roles to share responsibility and perspective?
Rotating roles builds empathy and broadens skill development.
Will we agree to separate personal from professional critique?
Separating the two prevents defensiveness and keeps focus on outcomes.
Should we establish a neutral process for conflict resolution?
A neutral process preserves relationships and restores cooperation.
Will we commit to evidence-based arguments rather than rhetoric?
Evidence grounds discussion and reduces unproductive speculation.
Should we welcome external expert input when needed?
Expert input can resolve technical questions and lend credibility.
Will we track action items and assign clear ownership?
Ownership ensures follow-through and measures accountability.
Should we celebrate milestones and small achievements together?
Celebrations sustain morale and acknowledge collective effort.
Will we ensure accessibility for participants with different needs?
Accessibility ensures equal participation and reflects genuine respect.
Should we provide clear agendas and concise summaries for each session?
Agendas and summaries promote efficiency and support memory retention.
Will we set norms for electronic communication and response times?
Norms reduce misunderstandings and create predictable interaction.
Should we define acceptable conduct for online comments and forums?
Conduct rules keep public spaces safe and constructive for learners.
Will we offer constructive alternatives when disagreeing with proposals?
Alternatives encourage problem solving rather than mere criticism.
Should we document lessons learned and best practices along the way?
Documenting lessons creates value for future teams and projects.
Will we ensure that assessment criteria are transparent and fair?
Transparency in assessment builds trust and clarifies expectations.
Should we encourage mentorship and peer support within the group?
Mentorship accelerates skill transfer and strengthens the community.
Will we address power imbalances proactively and sensitively?
Acknowledging imbalances allows targeted measures to ensure equity.
Should we invite anonymous feedback to surface concerns safely?
Anonymous channels often reveal issues that direct feedback misses.
Will we provide training on respectful communication where useful?
Training equips participants with practical tools for better interaction.
Should we plan for periodic external review to maintain standards?
External review offers impartial perspectives and can signal credibility.
Will we make room for rest and avoid unrealistic workloads?
Reasonable workloads protect well-being and sustain long-term quality.
Should we publish a code of conduct for all collaborators to sign?
A signed code clarifies obligations and affirms collective commitment.
Will we respond to breaches of conduct promptly and fairly?
Prompt, fair responses maintain integrity and protect participants.
Should we ensure that rewards and recognition are distributed equitably?
Equitable recognition encourages continued contribution and fairness.
Will we use concise, formal sentences to aid English learners following our process?
Short, formal sentences help learners parse structure and vocabulary clearly.
Should we model respectful disagreement in public discussions for educational value?
Modeling respectful disagreement teaches conflict navigation and critical thinking.
Will we commit to continuous improvement of our collaborative norms?
Continuous improvement adapts the process to real experience and stakeholder needs.
Should we provide clear contact points for escalation and support?
Clear contacts enable timely assistance and prevent escalation mishandling.
Will we document and share successes to inspire other teams?
Sharing successes spreads best practices and celebrates community achievement.
Should we align our process with broader institutional or community values?
Alignment strengthens legitimacy and supports coordinated action.
Will we be transparent about limitations and uncertainties in our plans?
Transparency about limits builds realistic expectations and trust.
Should we invite community participation while protecting learners from harm?
Balancing openness with protection maximizes engagement and safety.
Will we review and revise the agreement periodically based on feedback?
Periodic revision ensures relevance and responsiveness to changing needs.
Should we emphasize mutual respect as the foundation of all decisions?
Mutual respect anchors collaboration and enables constructive progress.
I will uphold these principles, foster a respectful process, and ensure that our work remains ethical, inclusive, and effective.